Hello, everybody. It is Taylor along with Barb and Brian for the first edition of the Daily Tea for January 11th, 2021. We have a lot of big stories to get to. First off, let me explain. We'll be doing this Monday through Friday every morning and discussing the latest news topics and what's going on in our world, and of course this world's a crazy place and it's the beginning of 21, so no telling what'll happen. But anyway, we begin this morning with a story that's been developing all the way back since last Wednesday. Nancy Pelosi said over the weekend that she's going to give Vice President Mike Pence 24 hours to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove Trump from office, or she will begin impeachment proceedings, which actually they are going to vote for that today on the House floor. If it happens, Trump will be the only president to ever be impeached twice during their presidential term. If the resolution does not unanimously pass today, the measure will be taken to the floor on Tuesday. Of course, this comes after Trump had a pretty bad week filled with scandal. Prior to last Wednesday's vote certification, Trump made statements on Twitter urging people to go to Washington and protest the election results. Then, of course, he had a rally that Wednesday morning. Later on that afternoon, groups of supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol. The chaos resulted in the deaths of 4 people, including 2 police officers, one who was beaten to death with a fire extinguisher, and it didn't stop there.
It was 2 police officers?
Yes, 2 police officers were killed in the attack on Wednesday. Following the chaos, Trump was issued a 12-hour ban from Twitter after several tweets where he continued his narrative of the election had been stolen from him. Following these tweets, Twitter issued the ban, and then the next day they went ahead and permanently banned him from Twitter. This was followed through multiple platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, also banned President Trump as well. And the House, if they do move forward with impeachment, will be charging him with incitement of insurrection. So a lot.
What do you want?
A lot has happened since last Wednesday, and Trump may, in the way I'm saying this may be kind of weird, Trump may not be indirectly responsible for everything that happened, but then again he is, because he did make the tweets. And even though some people are arguing whether or not he did mean for this to happen, if he did mean for this to happen, then he should definitely be held accountable. And if he didn't mean for it to happen the way it did, he should be held accountable as well. Because the way he speaks on Twitter, it causes chaos, and it makes these crazy radical right people believe what he's saying, and they go out and do what he says.
Everything he says, his supporters follow. So
he knew exactly what he was doing. He did it on purpose. I don't care what anybody says. He knew this was going to happen. He set it up to happen. There was a video of them partying in the tent, watching it unfold.
Listening to Laura Branigan's Gloria. Yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah, and they were all dancing and happy and having a good time. No, he knew exactly what he was doing. He did it on purpose, and he needs his orange butt to be in jail, and he needs to be arrested. He did it. I don't care what they try to do on it, but he needs to be arrested in jail.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that he knew what was happening. He knew what he was doing. knew that tweet would have supporters going to the White House
Yep.
and doing that
He
shit.
knew exactly what he was doing. But because all those Proud Boys there, all those other people, they weren't there by accident. No.
No, definitely
Anyway, but yeah, and of course we have Don. I think that the one that could be fueling all the stuff that Trump has been doing, one person I really blame is his son, Donald Trump Jr., who's actually, I think, a lot worse than Trump, just by
Oh, he
what
is.
he posts on Twitter, on social
not.
media,
Oh, yes, he is.
conspiracy theories, telling people over holidays to fight with their families, essentially, over their political beliefs. He is a great example of an internet troll. And honestly, I think that is one of the big problems are the trolls that, sit behind a keyboard and just type all this random stuff and try and get stuff going. I think that is the biggest problem are the internet trolls.
Oh no, the biggest problems are in the White House and his family and Giuliani. They all knew what they were doing. They've been planning this stuff for years.
They all knew.
He started this back in when he was running in 2015 or 16 when he kept saying that if he lost, it was going to be rigged. So he's been
election. Another
Yep,
funny thing he said after he won the election, there were still people that were, saying stuff about him winning the election. He went on to say that if there's no evidence of fraud, that you need to give up. And he was saying this about a political candidate. And again, 2021,
he does the same thing.
after an election, and despite all the court cases, despite all the stuff he's been posting on social media, there is still no hard evidence of voter fraud. And there are people that'll argue, say, yeah, there's a lot of evidence. The evidence.
So where's the evidence then?
Like, you could easily doctor anything nowadays. And especially the cropped photos that they show the days after, saying, oh, this person was at a Black Lives Matter rally. I'm of course talking about Jake Angeli, or however you say his last name. They showed him at the Black Lives Matter rally saying that he was a part of Antifa, when in reality, if you zoom out on the photo, you see that he is a QAnon supporter.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the Black Lives Matter rally to only recruit people for his cause, which is obviously spread misinformation. And a lot of people on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, I think, are misinformed by the radical left and the radical right. And it's causing a lot of division in this country. Nobody can get along like they used to.
It is.
You can't have a conversation about politics without getting into an argument. And that is because there's so much misinformation spread by radicals on both sides that it causes people to argue. And until that is fixed, we won't be able to solve this problem. We won't be able to get along as a country. There won't be any respect anymore, and that is a real problem.
Yeah, because if it's, and again, this all started with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's always been like a us versus them type of mentality, and it grew on both sides. So, but yeah, there's no middle ground anymore. So because
there is.
It's you're either all left or all right, and you can't have views on both sides without being looked at funny by both people.
Yeah.
So because I've always been kind of like in a middle person. but I can't do the
Right.
extreme right, and I just can't, and kids, it's just crazy, and they don't if you don't agree with them, then you're a piece of crap. So
Yeah.
Yeah, basically,
but
which is sad.
If you don't agree, you're either a radical conservative or a radical liberal. That's pretty much all it is. And that's the narrative that everybody has been spreading for the past 4 years. And I'm hoping with this new leaf turning in the US, with Biden becoming elected, hopefully people get their self-respect back. Hopefully there's not as much violence.
because Biden is not he's not radically left at all. He's middle.
Yeah.
Always been a middle of the road, middle candidate.
Mhm.
Right.
Kamala is more left than he is, but
I think that is one reason why people will worry. But then again, she's not the president. She is the vice president. She could, if something does happen to Biden within the next 4 years, that could cause her to become acting president. I could see why a lot of people would be worried. But as of right now, there shouldn't be much concern. And we see it every single election. There's some sort of fear associated with either side. Like I remember back growing up when Al Gore was running, the big thing was, was abortion, which was already had been legalized. But I guess a lot of people thought that if George W. Bush became president, that he would do stuff to get rid of it, which he didn't do. And then I remember from the 2004 election, the big narrative that I saw for conservatives, why they didn't want Kerry to get elected, was same-sex marriage. That was a big thing that everybody was worried about. And then we have in 2008, when Obama was elected, we had people worried he was a terrorist, worried that, that there'd be another terrorist attack that would happen if he were elected, that the economy would get worse. And then we had in 2012 all the fears with Trump and Clinton and everything, and now all the fears with Biden. Every single year, each side has their fears that they sort of promote to try and get people not to vote for the other candidate.
Right.
And every single time, there's really not much fuss over, any type of. Most of the time, the comments were just bluffing to try and get people to vote for who they want to vote for. And I think that once the inauguration happens, people will stop trying to promote the fear. Everybody will sort of go back to normal, and everybody will go about their day. No matter who's in office, there is going to be issues with them that somebody isn't going to like, no matter who the candidate is in office. So
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think the fighting and the fear is pointless.
yeah, for me, it's like especially like the people that are against abortion, against same-sex marriage. These people just need to mind their own business, type of thing.
Yeah, they do.
I agree, and I am pro-life.
Yeah, I'm like pro. I mean, what I would do, it's none of my business what somebody else does with their own
Right.
life, unless you can pay
It's
your
none
bill.
of none of anyone's business what anyone does. Just
I mean,
like if
unless somebody's
you
gonna,
want to get married with the same sex, then why should marry?
if they want to get married to a blow-up doll, it's up to them.
If somebody wanted to do that, I would really have to consider getting them committed. I don't know that.
But it's just
If I saw anything like that, I'd just.
But it's just nobody else's business unless you can be paying their bills. It's nobody's
Yeah,
business.
exactly.
And my dog.
Anyway, also yesterday, Melania Trump wrote a letter, and I'm going to go ahead and read this real quick, sort of addressing everything that's been going on the past few days.
She can write.
What?
She can write.
Well, she typed it. I mean, I don't want to know what her handwriting looks like. But anyway, she writes in the letter, like all of you, I have reflected on the past year and how the invisible enemy, COVID-19, swept across our beautiful country. All nations have experienced the loss of loved ones, economic pain, and the negative impacts of isolation. As your First Lady, it has been inspiring to witness firsthand that the people of our great nation will do for one another, especially when we are all at our most vulnerable. With nearly every experience I have had, I have found myself carrying many individual stories home with me in my heart. Most recently, my heart goes out to Air Force veteran Ashhill Babbitt, Benjamin Phillips, Kevin Greason, Roseanne Boyland, and Capitol Police officers Brian Sicknick and Harold Liebengood. I pray for the family's comfort and strength during this difficult time.
She did not write that.
Goes on to say, I'm disappointed, disheartened with what happened last week, and it's shameful that surrounding these tragic events, that there has been salacious gossip, unwanted personal attack, and false, misleading accusations on me.
I don't think she wrote that.
From people who
She
are
did not write that.
be relevant, haven't.
He's got to unmute himself.
Somebody wrote it for her.
Yeah, I don't think she wrote that. I mean, she as the First Lady, she hasn't done really anything at all.
And she can barely. No, she didn't write that. But
Keep on talking.
I think she's just counting the days until she can file those divorce papers, and because there's rumors that just before he won, that she was going to divorce him because of the Stormy Daniels thing.
Yeah,
So,
I do think that their relationship is headed in that direction.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Hi, baby.
People watching, school's going on, so we had to switch on the
Oh,
headphones.
Kevin. He says hi.
If anybody's watching, this is sort of the part of the show where things are sort of going crazy. Anyway, there.
Barb's dog wants to get on the camera.
Anyway, so let's continue. We're gonna go ahead now talk about if any of you are following the story of Soho Karen.
Well, I don't know about that one.
Soho Karen, of course, back December 26th was shown on video assaulting a teenager, a black teenager, for allegedly stealing her cell phone.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
The woman who has been nicknamed Soho Karen, her name is Maya Ponsetto. She has been arrested finally after being able to elude police for the past few weeks. She was arrested after attacking him. The attack happened on December 26th at the Arlo Soho Hotel in New York City.
She could have just had to give her phone back. Like, why do you have to attack him?
Well,
He didn't even have her phone.
She tried to take his phone, believing it was hers, when in reality she left her phone in an Uber. She was obviously either mentally impaired or drunk. She's been charged with 4 felonies: attempted robbery, endangering the welfare of a child, attempted grand larceny, and attempted assault. When she was confronted about, when she was eventually caught up with by the police in California, where she's from, police attempted to pull her over 3 blocks away from her home, but she eluded police. Once home, the officers actually had to physically remove her from her vehicle. And she even tried to slam her car door on the deputy's legs. So she's probably going to eventually also be brought up with resisting arrest charges. This is something that really bugs me. Her attorney claims that the whole incident was due to anxiety. Anxiety does not cause you.
Yeah, no, the anxiety does not cause that at all. Like you're
No, crazy
freaking,
does.
No.
you're like slamming the door on like the cop's foot, and you're like attacking a child. No, that does not cause anxiety.
No.
Well, she was
That it
she
doesn't
was on
cause
Gail
you.
King the other day, and she said she's 22. She's allowed to make mistakes. I just rolled my eyes because my
Um,
niece is 22. That's here, and yeah, no, she wouldn't do that.
I know kids that are 16 that have more maturity than this woman does.
Yeah,
She's obviously
exactly.
a very privileged woman that thinks she can get away with anything.
No, she definitely seems privileged.
She probably spends most of her time sitting by a swimming pool drinking a lot of wine. And this is just what I see from her. And she'll probably, spend a little jail time. And then after that, she'll get out and probably go back to doing the same things. And I really don't see why anybody would defend her actions, even an attorney.
No, they should.
So I'm sure we'll hear plenty more about Soho Karen as she has been
Oh, I
named.
definitely think so.
And also, we have to we can't do a show without talking about the latest TV reboot. It's a show I never really watched, but a lot of people are talking about it. The show Sex and the City, which was a very popular show on HBO back in the 90s and early 2000s. They are doing a reboot.
That. I watched that more with my sisters because they liked it.
Well, I really don't get. Is it just a bunch of women having a bunch of relationships and sitting around drinking wine, pretty much?
I wasn't really ever into it, really.
I wasn't either.
Well,
I thought it was kind of boring to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are rebooting the show on HBO Max. The new series will be called And Just Like That. So it won't be called Sex and the City or anything like that. It'll follow them now as they navigate everything now in their 50s as opposed to their 30s. The show begins production next spring.
Yeah,
I never even.
I just found it interesting. Kim Cattrall's not going to be on there, but I heard that her and Sarah Jessica Parker don't get along. So,
yeah.
Wait, who?
Kim Cattrall.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't really watch Sex and the City. But with HBO Max, I'm not surprised because they're going to be doing more shows. I think like that.
Yeah.
Well, it was on HBO. The original show was on HBO, so it doesn't surprise me it's on HBO Max. I watched a few episodes, but I never really got into it. So I never even saw the movie.
And finally, we are going to close today talking about the NFL playoffs, which began over the weekend with the wild card games. The Bills edged out the Colts in a very close game, 27-24. The Rams pretty much upset the Seahawks 30-20. The Tom Brady Buccaneers beat Washington football team 31-23. The Ravens beat the Titans 20-13. The Saints beat the Bears 21-9. And the one everybody is talking about this morning, the Browns beat the Steelers 48-37. So
oh my God! Wow,
yeah.
That big green up.
Big games coming up this weekend. On Saturday, we'll see the Rams take on the Packers and the Ravens take on the Bills. And on Sunday, we will see the Browns take on the Chiefs and the Buccaneers take on the Saints. Of course, they are playing for those conference championship games, which will happen on January 24th. The winners of those games face off in the Super Bowl on February 7th. So a lot going on with sports, with upcoming Super Bowl. Of course, The Weeknd will be doing the halftime show, so I'm real excited about that. And we will have more updates on that.
I wish there was somebody else besides The Weeknd, but that's just me. I'm like after they have all these people like Maroon 5 or Adam Levine, and now they have The Weeknd. Like, no.
I'm waiting for them to have a.
Wait, The Weeknd is the Super Bowl performance?
Yeah, he's doing the halftime show.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to start. We need a country halftime show. We have never had a country music halftime show.
Yeah, we have never had a country singer. We have never had a country singer do halftime.
Yeah, Carrie Underwood would be good.
Yeah, or Garth Brooks. He'd put on an awesome halftime show. Or even
I definitely
Brian.
think. Yeah.
I don't know why. But anyway, that is our show for today. Make sure you follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will be back tomorrow to discuss further updates. We'll probably have more updates on the ongoing impeachment saga. We'll see if Pence decides to invoke the 25th Amendment or whether or not the House will move forward with impeachment papers. Until then, have a good rest of your day and stay safe, and we will see you next time.
Bye.